Welcome to Cashflow Diary, a podcast where we discuss business, money, real estate, and the sharing economy. As a full-time real estate investor, entrepreneur, and all-around problem solver, I have had the privilege of developing individuals into powerful business owners. And today, the focus turns towards you. Our mission is to help you build your real estate empire by leveraging strategies to grow yourself, your mind, and your wallet. Let's get started. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode. Glad that you're here. So today we're going to do something slightly different. I've got with me here a number of participants inside one of our entry-level programs. We're going to be doing a Q&A, and we also are simultaneously doing a live room on Clubhouse. So if you haven't yet caught on. So this new season of content, a lot of it is being recorded live as well as distributed in post-production later. So what does that mean? That means oftentimes some of the best things don't make it to the final. So you probably should join us on Clubhouse. Feel free to check the show notes because the information for all of that will definitely be there. But more importantly, understand that what we're inviting you to is to be able to gain the information, the knowledge, the insight, the ways of thinking that puts money in your pocket. So what you're going to hear today is, exactly that. Rapid fire, more or less, Q&A, real time from a number of individuals that we've been working with. And also, as a small bonus for those that are listening live, you'll be able to hear some of the individuals on Clubhouse as well who have their varying questions in addition to everything else. So this is going to be fun, and more importantly, break out your notepads because you know good and well they'll leave full. So, all right, let's get this thing started. Hey, Mary, I see you there. What's your question, ma'am? How can I help?
Hey, Jay. So I actually had two very random questions.
Random? You say that as if I was expecting them to be in a certain category already.
So they're not directly related to short-term rentals, but
even better,
making a lot of money in general. Is that okay?
Yeah. No, again, short-term rentals is but one vehicle. And again, as I've said to you guys many, many times, short-term rentals is your beginning. It's our beginning. It's the beginning. It's not the destination. We're using the strategy to build cash flow and then use that cash flow to build other things, whatever those other things may be. So being multiple disciplinary. I don't think that's a word, but I made it up. Having access to many different ways of generating income is, I subscribe. I do. This is my life. So, but at the end of the day, what really is important to me is whatever you ask, just make sure it's something that you intend on following through on, because I'm going to ask you about it later.
Right.
Okay. So I'm good. I'm game. There is no such thing. Do you ask away? You want to talk about what? Toilet paper, stocks, options, the Republic of Georgia, banking? What? I'm in.
All right. So I have two. So my first one is how do you deal with family members like begging you for money?
Oh, dear Lord.
Then the second one is how are you protecting your money long term? Are you putting a percentage in a trust fund?
Wow, you did. Okay. So, Mary, yes, I love this question. And I'm going to answer it, but I'm just going to say it right now that second question is definitely, it's an entire event training all on its own, but I will answer it. Just know that I don't know that I can completely condense the entirety of that concept in the time that we have today. Even if I took the next 45, 50 minutes to explain it, I don't know that would be enough. But at the end of the day, I'm going to answer the question because I appreciate the fact that you're asking. And the fact that you're asking at least tells me that you're taking your short-term rental business seriously. So that part I like. Come and chat with me for a moment because there's something I need to know. You said making a lot. That's a relative term, and you know how I am about those things. Let's be specific. What's a lot of money?
Well, to me, I would say 7 figures plus.
Okay, got it. That's fine. So a lot of money. So are you also though? But my question to you is: are you saying that if you're not somehow making seven figures plus, that what you're thinking about is something you don't need to do?
No.
Okay, got it. So then my real question is does a lot of money really matter? Or should you just be, because you said a lot and that distinction was there for a reason. And sometimes it's used as an excuse as I don't need to do anything because I don't yet have a lot of money. And I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess more than what you're normally make and what your family has seen. That's why I also brought up the question of what do you do about family members like asking for money, as well as just enough money where you probably no one in your family has ever made that amount of money.
Yeah, I'm definitely in this position. Trust me. I understand. When I first started in the real estate space, I found this out that when I was the first person in my family to generate six figures in 6 months, because I did not realize that household income on an annualized basis there was only one other couple in my entire family tree that was six figures. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And then more importantly, what happens when they're putting on you, well, you have it, so you should give it to me. Is that some of what you're trying to deal with or think about?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. 100%. So here's how I attack it. I make it a line item. It's a line item in the budget. It is literally a line item in the budget, just like a corporation has a budget for marketing, budget for labor, a budget for supplies, SG&A, and everything else that's on the P&L. Well, my budget includes an amount of money on a monthly and or annual basis, either way, however you want to look at it, that you are literally going to, in my case, I think of it as literally going to give away. Now, 9 times out of 10, most of your family members are going to say things to you like, oh, don't worry, I'll pay you back. I already know it ain't coming back. That's my assumption. Now, if it does come back, great, wonderful. However, it is not my expectation that it will. That way, so that's number one. You got to protect yourself and the relationship. So to protect the relationship, I let them say what they want to say. They want to tell me, okay, it's coming back. Okay, great. To protect myself, I know I've already put it in the budget and I'm not even thinking about the money once I've given it to you. And if it comes back, it'll be a welcome surprise at that moment. And maybe I'll go, I don't know, throw a party or have a surprise. I don't know, whatever. We'll go to the movies with it. So I literally don't expect it to come back. And I also set a very fixed budget. And therefore, when they ask, because it's coming, when they ask, it's quote unquote very simple. It's, hey, I spent my budget for the quarter. I spent my budget for the year, for the month. I don't have any more. Sorry, you're going to have to talk to me next month, next quarter, next year. And because I've spent my budget for that at the moment, I don't have any more, it's a discipline thing. It's a respect thing for yourself and for them. And it's helping them to understand that, yeah, you know what? My life is different. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean I get to do, I am free from the confines of discipline. I mean, it's different, but it's not limitless. It's not limitless. And these are the limits. And yes, this is a self-imposed limit. So because I say to you that my budget for funds that I'm giving to you is exhausted, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't have money, especially if I get another marketing piece from Neiman Marcus and they got something I want to go buy. So does that make sense, Mary?
Yeah, there's just, some people might feel entitled. So.
Oh, yeah. No, some. Some.
Yeah.
Some. What do you mean some people feel entitled?
Yeah.
You should talk to my children. Anyway, many people feel entitled. That doesn't mean they are. I could feel that, you know what, Mary? I could think that you're a horrible person. That doesn't mean that you are, does it?
No.
That's right. They have it. Everybody's got an opinion and they're entitled to it. And I have the choice of whether to accept it or not. That's my choice. You have the right to an opinion. I have the right to agree or disagree. I don't have to agree because you automatically have that opinion. Now watch this distinction. There's a difference between someone who is a family and someone you are related to. Because we assign these unearned titles to people based upon birth. Like, because we've all been in situations where there have been people who are, managers or leaders, but they were leaders in title, in name only. They didn't actually perform the role or the function. So when you say family, are we talking title or are we talking someone who's actually performing the role? See, now there's a qualification to even get your funds, just like a credit score, but kind of different. Right. So those are all things that help you guard against being manipulated, used and whatnot when you are perceived to have unlimited resources, as the case may be. And to be clear, I even have to do this with my own mother. So it's not like there's a oh, yeah, sure. But probably no, there's just that discipline has to be there, because if it's not, I'm no longer protecting the opportunity that has you coming to me in the first place. Does that make sense?
It does.
Got it. Do you have any thoughts on that? You like it, dislike it? I mean, you can accept it or reject it. It's good either way.
Yeah, I just think that it will take some discipline and just try to.
It won't take some discipline. It'll take all the discipline.
And not fall in the trap of feeling guilty as well, especially if it's your mom. Yeah,
no. Well, survivor's guilt's a real thing, especially as a Black person. Survivor's guilt's a real thing. Hey, you made it out. Therefore, you should XYZ. So I hear you and I agree. And yes, it will take time for you to get used to it. But that's part of becoming a different identity. In fact, and unfortunately, I know a number of people who choose to play small because they just like, you know what, I'm just not going to deal with it. Because if I don't have it, then I don't have to deal with it. That's like their solution. Playing small, shrinking self becomes the answer. And Mary, I refuse to accept that for you. So I need you to not play small. Are you thinking that you've been possibly playing a little bit smaller than you should? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah. Yep.
I understand.
I would say that.
I've been through that. And I went through that phase too, because it was easier to play small. And at some point it becomes really hard to play too small, because if you have enough assets going, it doesn't really matter what you do. But what I wasn't doing is all of the marketing and advertising I needed to do, because if I'm not making any noise, then you can't look at me. Right. So that becomes a whole different thing, if you will. But yes, we can all accept that identity or choice to play small, but it's not something that I believe very strongly you should do, because it serves literally no one, worst of all you. And in my opinion, it's literally offensive to the God that I serve, if that makes sense. He did not tell me to play small. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
Got it. Now to the second question, there's a concept out there that I call the wealth waterfall. So yes, when it comes down to protecting capital and using it, I have theories around how your emergency fund, for example, should be used. Your emergency fund should exist and it should make you money, in addition to standing guard. All of those things can be true simultaneously. It should exist, it should make you money, and it should stand guard. So because unfortunately, the way we use cash today tends to destroy our liquidity, because that's really what we're talking about. Is what ends up happening is that we destroy our liquidity. by paying for college with student loans. Then second, contributing to qualified plans like a 401k. And then it's also the whole buying your primary residence out of sequence. Those things end up destroying your ability to have liquidity, which then ends up in debt. And you still need an emergency fund at the end of the day. So the emergency fund is definitely something that's there. I tend to hold funds like that inside specialized insurance policies, which is a whole nother thing. And again, that can be done at various different income levels. It's not just a quote unquote rich only strategy. In fact, insurance policies was what was used before all of these qualified plans existed in order to achieve some of the same goals. And then it's a concept very similar, like in the real estate space. Mary, let me ask you this. If you had a free and clear house and wanted to expand your portfolio, what is one way you could buy another house while keeping the existing one?
All right, another house. You could. I automatically start thinking about house hacking.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But if you had a free and clear house, no debt was on it, and it was already cash flowing, you were already running it as a short-term rental, but you wanted to buy another house, you wanted to own another property, what's something you could do that without selling the existing house, that would allow you the money to go buy another house? The hint is around free and clear.
I don't know.
Could you get a loan on it, Mary?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I was referring to. But because, see, that's common knowledge right there, right? So we do this in the real estate space all the time, where you put a loan on a property, and if the value goes up, so let's say you did that, Mary, you got a loan and then you got another house. But now what happens is the property value increases another $200,000. So you now have another $200,000 in equity in that same original house that now has a loan on it. But what's a popular strategy that people use in order to then take advantage of that $200,000?
You said just get a loan?
Yes. But is it possible to then do another cash out refi, though? Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, that's fine. And that's why I'm asking, because I had a feel. So if something goes up in value, even though we have debt against it, what happens is if for example, let's say if the house is worth $400,000, but we have $200,000 against it, we still have $200,000 of equity. There's a type of loan out there that will allow you to access some of that $200,000 of equity and still keep the house, effectively giving you the money to then go do something with all over again. And you can keep doing that a lot of times over and over and over again. My point is, we understand it from a real estate space, but we let that concept get trapped into real estate. And what I'm saying is, if you apply that concept, that one concept to many other asset classes, that's where the wealth waterfall comes into play. Said a different way, I could have and I'm making up numbers right now, but if I have a $100,000 inside of an emergency account, I can get a loan against that account and then take that loan against that account to go invest it somewhere else, like gold. And I could buy a whole bunch of gold, and then I can get a loan against the gold and go buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin if I wanted to. And then I could get a loan against that Bitcoin and go buy, I don't know, song rights. And then I could actually use the song rights as collateral and also get a loan there to buy cars. I could do a lot of things in that regard. But in order to then protect the capital from loss, protect it against inflation, while making sure it still maintains liquidity and still generates income simultaneously. But that's why I said that second question is more of it's an all day class in and of itself. But yes, those are the things that I just said are things that I actually do in order to protect capital, maintain liquidity, and continue to grow intergenerational wealth. Does that make sense?
It does. And I'm learning, definitely learning.
Yeah, that's why you're here. That was kind of the point. That was kind of the point. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Andrew, what's up, sir? What is going on?
Hey, Jay. I hope you're doing well.
I am. Well, I'm successful. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
Anyways, I'm moving out of our 2-bedroom unit.
Moving out of the unit? Oh, so this is Andrew in LA, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, sorry, I just got confused. I thought there's another Andrew in Texas. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew in LA. Got it. You're moving out of the 2-bedroom unit and going where?
Right now it's in storage, but
Okay.
the landlord is trying to charge me like $4,700 to paint the whole unit 3 to 4 times because of the dark accent colors and patching
That's
up holes and doors and cabinets.
Okay.
Is that like a realistic
No.
thing? Okay.
Well, the painting, the resetting to 0 is a realistic thing. Putting it back to that price. Now, that price probably isn't so realistic. Do you have LaTanya's phone number?
Yes.
Yeah, call her.
Okay. And ask her what I just said.
Yes, that's exactly what you should do. So yeah, no, that's exactly what you should do. You should have LaTanya's phone number. Okay.
So I'll call LaTanya and figure that out. What is the more common amount for like a 2-bedroom? If you don't do anything, you just move
Depends
out?
on the size. It's really hard to tell.
Okay. I had one, and my last question is if you have physical gold, what's the process of actually getting a loan for that?
I tell you what, I will go find the link there's a company in Newport Beach that does it. Depends on the LTV that you want, but there's a company in Newport Beach that'll do it, depending on the LTV that you're looking for. So keeping it physical may not be the best option, but I know they'll do up to 50% LTV.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, who's next? Well, actually, Jenny, you're next.
That would be me. Okay, so Angie invited me to this Facebook group called Luxury Real Estate Investing by Rachel Gainsbourg. Are you familiar with her at all?
Yes.
Okay, so she just sent out this whole list of top 75 cities for STRs right now, and I am very interested in how accurate that list may be and was curious about your insight.
I didn't see the list she sent out, so I am not 100% sure.
Okay, every single one of the links to the cities, I noticed every resource is AirDNA.
Got it. Understood.
Uh-huh.
So if you're asking me how I feel about AirDNA, that's one question. Here's the challenge. AirDNA has a very basic fundamental flaw, and that basic fundamental flaw has to do with the fact that they have challenges with some of their data. So I don't necessarily agree with everything that AirDNA has to say. Does that make sense?
That's okay. So basically, with my uncertainty of how much to rely on data that's coming from AirDNA, I'm just wondering, because some of these cities that I'm seeing on here, I was just blown away by. Now that doesn't mean anything other than I was shocked to see them on there. So that's what I was just kind of curious about with our aggressive growth plan.
Got it. I fundamentally ignore the best cities for Airbnb type of conversation and articles. Now, I will produce one because people will click on them. However, but I ignore the information in them ultimately because here's the difference. They don't take into account things like who it is that you're looking to serve and whether you are full-time, part-time, and your intent behind the business in and of itself. Because I could tell you that Minot, North Dakota is a great place, and I mean it, but it's never going to make a list because it's Minot, North Dakota, because it depends on the type of customer that you are looking to serve, is really what it comes down to. And if you're looking to serve the military, Minot, North Dakota will be great for you. But if you're not, it's not, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
It's not marketplace dependent in that thought process. That's part of the challenge. Most people think it is, and it's not. And no matter how many times I keep saying this, people keep telling me that, hey, it's the marketplace is saturated. I'm like, you just don't know what you're doing. That's literally the answer, is you don't know what you're doing yet. But because it's way more nuanced than that. And I promise you, I could come in your marketplace and within 30 days take over whatever zip code you think is broken and make it work.
Right. Yeah. Sean wanted me to ask a question that I had already asked early on, and I already knew the answer. And it's basically the saturation question. And I said, Jay doesn't care. It doesn't matter. If we were to go into a building, there was 100 operators and we only had 2 units, he would still occupy and outrun the other operators that are in the building and take over. So,
and I've done that. It wasn't the 100 other operators. It was 90, but these are details. They matter. And yes, because it was a 1600 unit complex, ridiculously large, and we crushed it. So it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Because once you understand who it is that you want to serve, and if you've gone through all 6 of those pages on your the worksheet multiple times, you're good. You're golden. And I keep telling people there's and you know this already, just in the fire damage situation that you got going on, many multiples of 7 figures there annually.
Yes.
All by itself. You don't need more than that. And it's ridiculous. And you won't even put a dent in the actual problem. That's the funny part, is that you won't even put a dent in the actual problem, but yet you will make a dent in your finances.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah,
exactly. Okay. Yep. Was that it?
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I think basically what I'm going to do is take a look at what those cities are that she put on that list, see what they're talking about, and see which ones fit within my avatars. Yeah. And if they are viable and actually make sense for us or not.
Okay. Yeah, that makes I'm down for that all day long, and makes a whole bunch of sense to me. Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we have some more questions from those who are here inside of our membership today. I think the next question, Jay Johnson, you're up. What's up?
Hey, Jay, how you doing?
I am fabulous. At the moment. Is there, this is Jay in Chicago, right?
Jay in Chicago.
Got it.
Actually, you're right.
We've got multiple Jays, and not including me.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Like
yep.
The question is, as a Cashflow Diary member, I'm turning up a new unit next week, or I'm actually closing on a building next week.
Whoa. You're closing on a whole building?
Yeah, I'm closing on a building.
That's what I'm talking about. Keep it up. Do it again.
Yeah, it kind of fell in my lap, actually. Literally.
How did a building fall in your lap? If the building is falling, that's not good. You shouldn't have bought it. You want the building to stay standing.
Kind of heavy.
I'm messing with you.
Good.
Yes.
The deal worked out pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead with it. So my question is, as a Cashflow Diary member, if I'm looking for furniture, appliances, all that type of stuff, is there a buying club or somewhere I could go to buy that type of stuff instead of me searching scams and all that type of stuff?
Got it. How many times have you asked the question and I've not had an answer for that? Sorry, I'm messing with you. Okay, so here's the answer. First, that's why I always want you guys to connect with LaTanya. Do you have her number already?
I do have her number.
Okay, good.
She's really busy. She's really loaded. So
I know. That's option 1. Option 2, option 2 is host GPO. Host GPO. HOST GPO. Host GPO is a organization that is literally a group purchasing situation, exactly what you're asking for. Okay.
So you had to become a member?
Host GPO, it is membership driven. We don't have any particular special relationship with them as of yet, but it is definitely membership driven. So that is one way to do it. And then another way to do it, and I'm sending this to you right now, is that I'm going to tell you to go and speak with Robert.
The name sounds familiar.
Yes. If you look in your chat, I just sent it to you.
I got it.
So that the name and number, so that you can call him. I know he has some options available for you as it currently stands. When it comes to furniture, and pretty much it's already packaged in 1 and 2 bedroom increments, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So there you go.
My last question is Avatar. And Jenny brought up a good point.
What's that?
Avatar is based on, it's not based on a city, is it? Based on what you want to serve.
Right.
So it doesn't matter the city.
Right.
It matters what you want to, who you want to serve.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make that clear.
That's like saying, you know what? I can't do Italian food restaurants in Kansas. That's what you're saying. That's what people, that's why I always laugh when people tell me, well, the marketplace matters. Yes and no. It's not paramount. It's not the most important thing. Now, I'm not saying that the same number of Italian restaurants exist in Kansas as they do in California, but that, you know, there are other contributing factors to that. But it doesn't mean you can't have an Italian restaurant in Kansas. But that's what, so when people say that to me, that's how I hear it. You know, that's like saying, you know, if you're in New Mexico, they can't have pizza there. Really? I don't know about that. You know, does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That leads me to another question.
Okay, go for it.
About the list of best cities for STR, whatever.
Yes.
Now, your list would be different than other people's lists.
No, I would never have a list.
You would never have a list.
I would produce a list, honestly, for nothing but clickbait. Because people will click at that. I mean, I'm just trying to be transparent as always. There's, in my opinion, those lists mean nothing to the hospitality short-term rental operator. Now, if you're asking me from a purchasing standpoint, these are two separate businesses, two separate things. They don't have, they're not the same, right? So that's the difference, is we're conflating one with the other. From a hospitality standpoint, if they've got hotels there and extended stays there, it works there.
There's something there.
Period. There's something there. There's someone to serve. You just don't know who it is, and they don't know you. That's what's missing. But nobody wants to take the time to focus on that, because that requires you to have expertise with humans, as opposed to trying to, well, I can just look up real estate whenever I want to. And those resources are already there. So this clearly is what makes sense. It's not. But that's how many people start this business and end up making errors, is because they're making assumptions from a faulty premise. Does that make, and that's, that's where we end up. But it is what it is.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Hey, no problem. I have fun. This is fun for me. Your questions, your guys' questions are easy. I hope you figured that out by now. Compared to what I have to answer, your questions are easy. Kamika, how are you?
Hey, we'll get there, Jay.
I want you to, too, please, because then I have someone to ask my questions to. That would be great. Kamika, what's going on?
Hey, Jay, I just had a quick question.
Why do y'all say that? Quick question? What is quick? What is that word quick supposed to do? Is that supposed to make me go, oh, okay, no problem. Go ahead and ask. Anyway, I'm messing with you, but I'm also like, we always say quick question. Is there a slow question? Anyway, go ahead.
Kamika has never had a quick question.
I know, right? She's always got a quick question. It's just in 27 parts. It's all good, though. It's all good. What's the slow question? Anyway.
Yeah, no. So this is, I'm working on my technology skills.
Oh, okay.
So this is a technology question around turnover B&B.
Okay.
I have, between all my units, I have a lot of, turnovers. And when I'm reconciling this with my bookkeeper, it's just, I'm like, is there a report that I could just run? Because I don't want to have to go into every single invoice manually for all these units just to figure that out. And so I couldn't figure out how to run a report that would just show the apartment number or the address, and then maybe the cleaner and the cleaning amount that they charge me, because they have different cleaners. So I don't know. Is that something that you know of by any chance?
Okay. So I have a number of issues with your question. First of all, you used the word I too many times, and I'm sure you knew this was coming. Because why are you the one doing this reconciliation? Why is not the bookkeeper doing that for you? That's my first question, because they should be
going to do it, but I was trying to run a report that would
hold on.
show her.
Let me finish. They should be able to run that report for themselves. That's number one. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. But my point is, even that work is work that they should be doing. I hear where you're going. You're trying to make it easier for them to do their job. And you want them to, we give them access to the internals and to the raw data so that they can log into wherever they need to log in, download whatever they need to download to be able to reconcile and then tie things out. Because that's where we're trying to get to. Because part of the challenge is how these reservations fall. Some of them cross months, some of them cross many months. So they definitely cross quarters. And sometimes you've got, depending on the platform you're dealing with, you've got your unearned income versus earned income. And then you've got your line item income to still keep track of, which can be, that's a full-time job in and of itself. And it's only going to compound as you continue. So let me give you the solution. Part of your solution is, if I remember correctly, you're about to have 6. What's that?
Are you going to say LastPass?
Oh, no, that was not on my list.
Oh, okay.
Not this time. Not this time. No. Part of your solution, though, is how are you at 6 bedrooms now? I forgot how many you're at. I forget.
Yes, that's correct.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool. It's time for you it's time to grow up a little bit. Turnover B&B is great. It helps you get started, but it's not where the professionals are going to live in for a long time. The thing that's going to last you the longest inside the tech stack in this space is going to be properly. It's time to get over to properly, because you need to begin to develop those SOPs for cleaning as well. And properly has the capabilities of doing that, in addition to helping to tie the reservations to the cleaner, specifically for either invoicing for them and or bookkeeping for you. And between the reports that come out of properly and hospitable, your bookkeeper can download the reports between those two tools, plus any sort of reconciliation that comes from the OTA, in order to get what they need. Those are the 3 places you've got to go. Now, I am still waiting for somebody to use like Microsoft BI or something of that nature and turn it into a singular report, maybe through a Tableau with API integrations or something. But to my knowledge, that does not yet exist. And until it does, the way that it's done is what I said, if that makes sense.
Don't say that publicly.
Oops, too late. It's all good, Jenny. Hey, Jenny, the opportunity is there. This is one of the most ripe space for technology because all of the technology it's for the big guys. And when I say big guys,
I actually was, because that's what I do.
It's
right? That's
frustrating.
What I've been doing for the last 3 years. And I actually was having a conversation 2 nights ago, as a matter of fact, with one of my really close friends at how we could make this a possibility and probably build it in 90 days or less.
Yeah, talk to me, because I can help. I trust me on this one. I can help. I'm wanting to help somebody who knows the tech side. That would be great. That's what I don't know. I don't know the tech side, and I know I see the opportunity. I live the opportunity. I'm using 14 different programs in order to run my business. Come on. Yeah, well, I would love to be able to knock those numbers down, but I can't.
I do recall somebody reached out to your assistant a little over a year ago asking for your time for this.
Gee, I wonder who that might have been.
But you didn't have time for that.
Yeah, I understand. Maybe now I'll make time. That's a great idea. It's a
fabulous idea.
You know what? I'm gonna have to talk to that guy. What is his problem? It's all good though. Anyway, so yes, I hear you 100%. But Kamika, what you're bringing up is an issue. It is not for the faint of heart, and it's difficult because we are running a business model that is relatively new and unheard of, and then we're asking them to not only do that but put profit first, right smack dab in the middle of it, for something that they're not used to yet, and the numbers are huge, so you can't really afford any mistakes, but nor can you have a $5,000 a month accounting bill. So if you look inside the network, what you'll find a list of bookkeepers who can help you with this. More importantly, you may find a discount code for properly, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, but if not, reach out and we'll get that over to you.
Thanks, Jay.
No problem. It's what I do. Where'd you go? Kamika, Erica, is it Sierra? Did I say that right? I think I did.
Yes, you did. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Perfect.
My question is, I'm a brand new operator. Well, I've been co-hosting for about 3 years, and I've just gotten my own property with, anyway, long story short, my question is, what is the best thing to automate right off the bat?
Messaging, period. The messaging and communication with the customer is going to be your big bottleneck, especially at the beginning. You will hurt yourself if you fail to do that, and you'll end up messing so much up from your arrival process and whatnot. You miss so many opportunities by not having that, if that makes sense. So you definitely want to do that fast, if that makes sense. So messaging is by far one of the first things that you want to get automated. In fact, for those who are in our mastermind product, we provide them. That's one of the first templates we provide them is a whole stack of messaging templates, because we want them to get that right as fast as humanly possible, so that weight can be taken off of your shoulders. Because if you're always wondering, did I send them instructions? Do they have the key code? Did I get back to that quote? Did I, all of those things, it'll mess with your sleep, because that's what it did to me. It did just mess with your sleep, and it's 24/7. And we got to be able to do this in multiple languages. And then over time, like where we are today, we can respond within 7 minutes, 24/7 and in multiple languages, to all of our customers, regardless of the question that they're asking. But messaging by far must be automated first, or otherwise it'll crush you. You will never leave your phone alone. You'll grow to hate your phone. In fact, even though you're making decent money, you'll grow to hate your phone.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Lainey, all you got to do is the little button. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Erica. Ron, how can I help you, sir?
Hey, what's up, Jay? How you doing? So my question stems on the same side as communication. I'm Ron Curtis, based out of DC. I pretty much turned a single family home, turned my basement into an Airbnb, and that's been paying my mortgage. I took what I learned, and now I'm working on my 10th property by the end of August, just by co-hosting.
Okay.
And I'm glad,
I got one request, though. I got one request.
Yes.
When you're talking to me, there aren't Airbnbs. You don't have an Airbnb. Airbnb.
A short-term rental. I got you. Short-term rental. I'm on VRBO right now. You're right. I literally just got off with customer service, about to pay him outside his job to do the fast track for VRBO for me. Right. Short-term rental. Thank you for saying that.
Y'all trying to curse in my ear and make me like it. I don't like that. No.
This is my first time in the room. I literally just hopped in. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I got to get back in my clubhouse bag.
No problem. All
right. So my question is, so from September to December, I had 1 unit, and now from December to December to August, I can have 10, right? So what I'm tired of now is just, customers and renters staying. If everybody's checking in at 3 p.m. and checking out at 11 a.m., right?
Yep.
I'm getting calls. So my question is, I just went and sourced, I got 50 to 60 leads for virtual assistants to take over this.
Yes.
But my question is, before I go start scheduling meetings with them, what are some criteria that I should hone in on these virtual assistants? I use them for other things, but never for customer service.
Yeah, no, totally understood. So here's what I'm going to say. Number one, so many things. If I said the word to you, SOP, do you know what that is?
Yeah, standard operating procedure. I work at DC government. Yeah, I know.
I had a feeling when you said DC, I'm like, he's got to know this. So good.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, do you have them for your short-term rental business is the question. Because if you don't have them, hiring the customer, what I call the customer experience team, looks a little different. Then it just looks a little different, because when you don't have them, you have to be able to create them. And you got to create them in real time along with the process, because you're right. Your phone, you're going to get tired of, I got tired quickly of all of the communication and where's my pillow and how did you forget the hairdryer and how do you turn on the lights? Conversations got quickly under my skin, and done with that. So what does that mean? What do you do? What I would do and have done is I would, continue with what you're doing in terms of thinking through who it is that you want to hire. But what I would hire is the manager of the customer experience department, not the agent in the customer experience department. And here's why. Because what I would look for and what I would hire for is managerial skills. Because what I'm going to have them do is it's a 4-step process that I have every person on the team goes through it. It's watch me, do with me, do alone, teach another. I'll say that again. Watch me, do with me, do alone, teach another. Therefore, what I'm now going to do is, because I'm hiring for things that are mostly character based in this case, I'm going to train you by, in this Zoom or Loom or using some sort of technology where I can record my screen and we can talk back and forth, where I am still going to do many of the tasks that I want you to do. And your assignment is to take these videos and turn those into SOPs. And then your assignment, after we've gotten a collection of SOPs, is to create the job description based upon the fact that you've been going through the same set job description. And then your task is going to be to hire the people, because I'm not doing the interview mess. It takes too much time. And that's why I'm hiring the manager, right? Because they're going to then create the SOPs. They're going to then create the job description. They're then going to interview the people. And now the first test happens when we hire that first person. He or she is going to then use those SOPs to execute the exact same things, which means that the manager, if the SOPs were created correctly, then that person that they hire should be able to follow and then therefore execute the SOPs, I'll say reasonably flawlessly. Now, that's not going to happen, but at the end of the day, that's the goal. And I'm going to repeat that process until the SOPs are in a status that I consider, or that we tend to consider complete. Now, I will say, for the process of simply going through our, the arrival, the door code. The door code situation is, we have that as, it's 21 steps. And it took 17 revisions to get it to where it is today, to where now we can get anybody from anywhere and they can read the SOP and actually execute it. The reason that you're going to take this time, and again, this is all relative to how serious you're taking your business, Ron. If you're taking your business seriously, here's what you're going to, what I'm saying is this is what you're going to do. You're going to make this investment because it will lower. It'll do two things. It's going to lower the wages that you have to pay for this person, for the agent or the manager. And then secondly, it'll make hiring much easier, because otherwise where you get stuck is you get stuck having to hire so high and pay for so high. You get what's known as institutional knowledge stuck inside a person. And then the leverage goes away from the employer over to the employee, if that makes sense. So you've got to have everything documented so that you maintain the proper leverage and the proper value of that particular position to the company or organization. Otherwise, if you don't take the time, you won't be able to pay. You won't be able to pay what you need to pay in order to stay profitable. And you'll end up spending way too much time going through that whole process. Also, I would review, Michael Hyatt has a process known as the 5 levels of delegation. I would review that to decide which level of person you would like inside your organization, whether that's a level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. No necessarily wrong answer, but with clarity, I will say if you're going for a manager, it's usually a level 4 or level 5 person that I would look for in order to put in that position and set free, so to speak. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah,
man. Thank you. That made a whole lot of sense. And I'm gonna take everything you said and apply it, and I'm gonna circle back with you, let you know the success that it brings. Thank you, man. That was powerful. That was definitely powerful. I appreciate you. And that answered my question to the T. Thank you.
Hey, that's what I do. That's why I'm here. Speaking of which, of things that I do and why I'm here, for those of you that are listening, especially on Clubhouse, feel free to go to cashflowdiary.com/masterclass. Colleen, yes, ma'am. Or yeah, do you have a question?
Oh, actually, I did. Somebody pulled me up here, but I just wanted to know if you have a unit and it's not, you have a month where it's not getting booked. Is there anything you could do to draw more attention to?
Hold on. You said a month where it's not getting booked? Sorry, I'm having a fundamental challenge with the if you have a unit that has a month with it not getting booked, that should not ever happen. So I don't understand that at all. What do you mean?
Me either. I'm trying to figure it out for her. So she just got started in the short-term rental business, and she has a unit out in Cincinnati, and it's all hooked up. Last month it was pretty booked and busy, but for the month of August there are no bookings yet. I told her about the sam.gov thing and kind of getting away from the Airbnb thing, but I don't know how that all works. But I guess short, I digress too much. Anything that can attract more people to that viewing or to that listing, or should she just go the sam.gov route?
Wow. Okay. So, all right. Here's the challenge. That question, or the way that is, it's assuming that all units are the same, and they're not. They're not a commodity. And if they're marketed as one, that's number one part of the problem. Let me be more specific. I am a 6'5" male who travels for business. Therefore, units that appeal to me typically have 24-hour access, king size bed, typically advertised, are appointed very decently, and I can tell that they've got TVs in both rooms. They've got a certain level of quality photos. And in and of itself, that type of a room would appeal to me, because a queen size bed is never going to work for me. It just isn't, because I don't fit. Right. And rooms that speak to me in that way are the ones that tend to get chosen. What I'm saying is, in order to be able to diagnose the problem, we have to have built the unit on a system to begin with. Now, most people will just tell you lower the price, and they're not wrong. Lowering the price, there is a point at which you just lower the price and you'll get somebody, sure. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that's who you want or who you want to serve or a profitable price. But yes, you can lower the price and get the place filled. And you're trying to strike this balance between occupancy and daily rate in order to make it all work and come together. That is really what it comes down to, because when you understand to whom you are speaking, you need to cater your message to that audience. Unfortunately, most people are marketing their units as if it's some sort of white label product that will just naturally appeal to everybody. And that is not the case. Way more thought has to go into it. So, because sometimes it could be, because I've seen this too, you could just have a setting incorrect and you're just not getting the visibility that you need. That's also a possibility, whether that's you have instant book turned off or it turned on, but you also have things like guest must have a prior review, as well as guest must provide ID. There are certain settings that work against one another. And to the inexperienced operator, you're thinking, oh, yeah, I got to have this. But what ends up happening is you destroy the VCP process, VCP standing for visibility, credibility, then profitability. You got to have all of those things. And oftentimes what happens is that we destroy our visibility because of what we don't know that we don't know. But not necessarily. And then we destroy our credibility because of how we present the listing, and then wonder why we're not earning what we could and or should earn. And it's some version of you've destroyed your visibility and you've destroyed your credibility by how you appointed the unit, what you have in the unit, and what you say you do or don't have in the unit, because that also matters. What you don't say matters just as much as what you do say. And unfortunately, there's not near enough information for me to tell you do these things. And I'm also certain, having done this for so many years in 17 different countries, that I'm saying it's a list of things that are likely happening that are resulting in what's there. Now, does that mean SAM.gov and that whole process of government contracting doesn't work? No, there's 65 different use cases here. So there's many things that could be done. However, which one? Who knows? And so I would say to that person, they're the perfect person to come to the masterclass, because I can at least give them a proper foundation and a checklist to begin with that says, hey, check what you've done against this. And once you've done and implemented these things, as you implement these things, it should resolve the issue. And because that's what happens. It should resolve the issue in and of itself. So that's really where that's coming from. So I don't know. I know you would want a more silver bullet style answer. Unfortunately, one is not available at this moment from the information that's given, if that makes sense. But not knowing who it is that you want to serve, it's everything.
That was more than I truly could ever thank you for, Jay. The person is actually in this room right now, so she got to hear all that. So I'm like really excited about that. So thank you so much. And I just wanted to say hi to Keisha real quick, my girl Keisha right there.
What's up, Mama?
What's going on? And thank you for all the pro tips you're giving me in the chat there too, because she's seeing that as well. So thank you both very much.
You're quite welcome. I like it.
Anything for you, Colleen. Anything for you.
Yeah. We tend to run around a philosophy around these parts is that you cannot outgive us. We pretty much exemplify that everywhere we go. So love it. Lainey, I see your question there. Go ahead.
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. I don't know if this is going to be more complicated questions.
Oh, try me.
A layer of things going to come into, but recently I'm trying to get investors' money and figure out a plan. How do you structure that in the most simple way? Because I'm just starting.
Are you sure you want it simple? Because you say simple, then I say it's simple, and then you're going to tell me it can't be that simple, Jay.
Okay, well, that's true. You're right. Because I noticed it's not that simple once I start getting into it. So what I have done, the homework I have done so far, because I was thinking that I raised a fund from foreign country because my brother's there, and he actually going to this type of company and listen to their fundraising event and understand their structure. So I reverse engineer their structure and see how much percentage of return I should give and try to calculate as much of the expense and ROI and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm sure there are blind spots. And I'm dying to find out if there's some kind of roadmap out there for us to build short-term rental with investor funds and how do we do it.
Got it. Totally understood. We haven't known each other long, have we, Lainey?
We actually met. I first found out about you at Clubhouse last year.
Yes.
It was one of the marathons of things and talk about $1 million.
Oh, those $1 million rooms. I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So that's how I exposed to you. And I talked to Jeremy several times. And
got it.
Last weekend was the first time I got into your class. And I decided I need a mentor in something deeper topic like
Got
this.
it. Totally understood. So here's the good news. The good news is you actually have access to exactly the roadmap that I've created for doing exactly that. It's inside the materials. It's called it's capital creators. And there's also a financing section inside the mastermind product as well that goes through the process of how to attract the investors, what to offer them. And then I invented something called the profit analysis quadrant, which you have access to as well, that shows you how to draw out the returns so that the investors, are willing to contribute capital. But long story short, the only way to know what to give an investor is to ask them. Most people are trying to prescribe without diagnosing. There's a process that we go through called an investor identity interview. And if you don't go through that interview, you don't know what you don't know about what you don't know. Because when I ask people, hey, what do investors want? You get all kinds of answers. From high ROI or return of their capital or safety or blah, 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 various different things. The answer is you don't know what that person wants until you ask them. Right. And then once you know what they want, the question is does the deal that you're currently working on, can it give it to them? And if so, what does that look like? And that's where that process with the PAQ comes into play, is to understand both of those things. Because here's a very simple sequence. I'll role play with you real fast, Lainey. For the sake of this example, let's just pretend that we've done a number of things. We've met, we've talked, we've probably played the cash flow game. We're sitting down. You have, I'm going to say $100,000 inside of a retirement plan that you would like to use in order to, begin to earn a return. So with that being said, I would say things to you like the following, Lainey. So inside your retirement plan, what is the return that you are currently used to?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what, Lainey? It's unfortunate, but I hear that most often. Most people don't know. They don't. And that they're disconnected from it. And I completely understand if you don't know yours either. Now, what I have found is that when people go to look at their statements, it's probably in your drawer somewhere in the kitchen with all the other junk stuff. It's in an unopened envelope. They keep sending it to you, but you just don't read them. You put them there. That's what most people do. And when you look at that statement, it often says something somewhere between 2 to 3, maybe 4%. Occasionally, there's some blips above that. But let me ask you this, hypothetically speaking, but not so hypothetically speaking, if you found your 401k to be an average of 4% return over the time that you've had it, would you be satisfied with that?
It's a safer way of investment.
Safer compared to what?
Compared to other high risk. I mean, it could be a high risk as well, but it seems more steady.
Steady compared to what?
Compares to maybe volatile cryptos versus stock.
Got it. So you would be satisfied with 4% then?
I don't personally, because I already tap into my 401k for my business.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the answer is no, I wouldn't be satisfied with it. But let me ask you this, Lainey, if I doubled that for you, would that be okay? Do you see what I'm doing? So what I'm finding out before you make an offer to someone, you need to understand who they are. And I was dipping into what you and I just did was really quick, but I have targeted questions so that you become a professional information gatherer. That's what I call the process. I've got to gather information because what I consider safe is different than what you consider safe. That's why I'm asking you, compared to what? Because, see, most people say things like what you just said. 401k, oh, it's safe. Really, compared to what? Now, there's no judgment. I'm asking compared to what to find out what your level of financial acumen is. And you tell me by either you can tell me compared to something or not. Because I need to know what your level of experience is. Because sometimes what we do when we're trying to raise capital is we think what the investor wants is what we want. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. See, I can't give and the truth of the matter is I can't give an investor what I want. I accept 100% return. I can't give that to the investor and still make money with their money. That doesn't work. So I can't give them what I want. What I need to know, though, is what do they accept for themselves? Is more possible? Sure, but you got to do something for that more. And then what's even better, Lainey, is that you gave me the hint. You said it yourself. You said, I already tap into my 401k for my business. Well, Lainey, what I'm saying to you is you can tap into other people's 401ks for your business, too. It is the laziest capital on the planet. There's 30 trillion with a T dollars available in other people's retirement accounts. It's sitting there, and most people don't know how to access it because they've been told, I can't do anything with it till they're 59 and a half, or they pay a tax or pay a 10% penalty. And what I'm saying to you is that the process for accessing other people's retirement plans, or affectionately what Keisha has called Oprah's other people's retirement accounts, so I'm going with it because I love it, is a way for you to fund your short-term rentals, period. I love it.
Right.
And it's how I got access to my first $5 million of investable capital. Other people's retirement accounts. Mm-hmm. Still to this day, it's the best source of all the way. And if you follow the scripts that I've put in there for you, and I know it sounds simple, but because it is, but if you follow the scripts, you'll be able to get all the capital that you need, like a lot of it.
Got it. Another question I have is, do you pitch to your friends, close friends, and how do you manage that kind of relationship?
My close friends know what I do. I don't mind. I don't pitch anybody, first of all. So let's start there. I don't pitch anybody at all, because that's a whole different thing. And I don't mind telling them when I'm raising capital and giving them the opportunity to join along. The train is leaving. They can join if they want to. If they don't, I'm not hurt. Because that's what's happening. It's like going to the grocery store or to the movies. If I wanted to see the next Marvel movie that comes out, guess what? I'm going. Would you like to come? I don't need you to come in order to go to the movies, but if you'd like to come, you are welcome. Do you hear the difference?
Correct. I actually purposely not getting my friends involved.
And that's fine too.
So much liability could affect relationship, etc.
Well,
so I don't.
True.
Most people think this is the quickest, closest, easiest way.
No,
to get
it's not.
Okay.
And what I was going to follow that up with, it's even though I do that, very few of them actually follow through. So just because I do make the offer doesn't mean they're going to follow through. And I know that, but I'm making the offer so that they can never accuse me of not having made the offer, because that's the very thing they will do. If that so
yeah, and also they know you so well. Sometimes the people who are closest to you, I mean, that's my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. A prophet has no honor in their own hometown. Are you kidding? The hardest person is my mom. I'm not even joking. So and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. It is what it is. I'm okay with it. And you can be okay with it too. Because see, you don't need any one person's capital, but you do need people's capital. Just not any one person. And the reason that this question typically comes up is because you don't have a marketing system. For some reason, when we get into the real estate space, we forget that we're in business, and therefore we still have to do marketing. We have to let the marketplace know that, hey, we're here. Here are the problems that we solve. Come give us money, right? We forget to do that, as if somehow we're exempt because I want to do real estate. That's typically how that comes out and how it sounds.
Got it. And it sounds like you're pretty focused on this sector, like 401k investment. And I'm pretty sure you probably try multiple different way of raising money and found this is the easiest, or
it's definitely not the easiest. If I wanted it's not the easiest, because I'm literally selling against Charles Schwab, T. Rowe Price, and every Wall Street company on the planet and their marketing budget. So no, it is not the easiest. I think it does more good in the local marketplace than anywhere else. I can offer a more stable return, and most importantly, I can get referrals. At the end of the day, it's a concept I like to call do good and do well. Same time. You don't have to have one to the exclusion of the other, but it's definitely not easier. Now, it does have many benefits, one of which is I don't need a credit score, nor do I need to have come from an Ivy League school or how to use PowerPoint and how to do it. But you've got to just consider the source. I didn't come from an Ivy League school. I've got a high school education. And so I had to find a way to make things work for me without what the traditional population believes you have to have in order to get things done. Does that make sense, Lainey?
Yes, I appreciate the value you brought it up that I haven't really considered as providing value to the community level and giving back. Another thing I've been considering is EBV type of funding, for investor funding. And I don't know how to tap into that side of the world.
Yes. And I've also, and I was also thinking, and again, I don't know, I'm hearing an accent, so I'm assuming if someone is, there's also lots of capital for investors who are looking to become naturalized citizens as well, especially in the United States. I've done this with individuals from Canada, for sure. But there's not a shortage of capital. There's a shortage of experience, if that makes sense. That's really what's out there. What's that?
Experience as far as, what do you mean by experience?
Meaning, if I said to you, which do you think there's more of, people with access to $1 or people who know how to buy cell phone towers? Which would you say is there's less of?
Cell phone tower.
Exactly. There's a lack of experience. A lot of people have access to money. Very few people have the ability to take money and make it make money. That's the difference. And if you're one of those individuals who has the ability to take money and have it make money and or create a system around other people's money, you're a very valuable person in today's marketplace.
Got it.
That's the difference. I choose to be the person who not only can I play the game, I can teach the game. I'm a player coach, if you will. So, and that's what gets me excited, is that I get to play, but I also get to teach. I derive more significance from teaching, even though playing is fun.
Awesome. I think I better go back to play my student role to study all that you mentioned before I come back for more questions. Okay.
No problem. Hey, Lainey, you can come back. You're here every Tuesday. That's how it works. Myself or the team will be here for you guys in order to get the questions answered. So that's the goal. I'm glad that you were here. Hopefully you found it worth it. For those of you that are listening, by all means, tomorrow, don't forget, if you want to grab the masterclass, go to cashflowdiary.com/masterclass. Again, you can go there. I'll be there. It is 4 hours. There are no replays. Only VIPs get the recording. That means I want you to pay attention. Bring a notebook. Bring your questions. I can get you into action. There have been individuals who literally, during that 4-hour period, have been able to get in contact with landlords, find what to say, be able to, we're talking actually getting a deal done. If possible, if you're in position for it, I will be able to identify and push you into getting it done. Because, that's what I want. I want more of you to go out there and begin to actually stop talking about the thing and be about the thing. So go to cashflowdiary.com/masterclass. You'll be able to do it. We are at that time, however, ladies and gentlemen, and that's good because I don't see too many more questions. And as a quick recap, for those of you who are listening on Zoom or Clubhouse, just know that, yes, this will be edited for later. So you'll be able to hear this on the Cashflow Diary podcast. By all means, feel free to follow the club. We will be doing more podcast recordings live, very much just like this, so that you guys can hear on your terms and at your time. And for those of you listening on the podcast, by all means, make sure you join us on Clubhouse. Just check the show notes for the details on how to do that. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you guys today. I have the privilege of someone has flown in from Australia. So I'm going to go meet with them because I think we're working on some really big things in the background. So I'm pretty excited to see where this goes. I'm pretty sure I'll see you guys here on Clubhouse soon. In the not too distant future. But at the end of the day, go get more units because that's how we're going to fight and beat and win against inflation together. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for tuning in to the Cashflow Diary podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave a rating and a review. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, head over to cashflowdiary.com to sign up for our email list, as well as check out all the links and resources in the show notes. Thank you again. Until next time.